Today we're putting down Pre-Emergent. Let's talk everything Pre-Emergent, crabgrass preventer. Make sure you stick around to the very end. I have a very common mistake I've been hearing a lot of people making in regards to Pre-Emergent, and you need to hear it as well. So stick around to the end. Spring is here. The grass is starting to grow. Everything's warming up, greening up, starting to look a lot nicer. That also means that weeds are trying to emerge from your ground. How do we prevent weeds in your lawn? The best way, a pre-emergent herbicide, crabgrass preventer, in other words. Now, what is a pre-emergent herbicide exactly? Well, first let's discuss pre and post-emergent herbicides. So a pre-emergent literally means before it emerges from the ground. So this product here will help prevent weeds from actually coming up from the ground and being present in your lawn. A post-emergent herbicide is what you use later in the season if weeds actually make it through and are visible in your lawn. We'll discuss that in a later video. I'm not going to talk about post-emergence today, but pre-emergent herbicide, essentially what it does is it goes down into your lawn and it creates a barrier. And this barrier prevents any of those weeds from actually coming up through your soil by preventing root growth, cell division, it's science, and it blocks nutrients that the weeds need to actually push through the surface and survive. It is important to know when to apply these products, which I did discuss in my last video, which you can find here. But 50 to 55 degrees soil temperature is that magic degree number, 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit that is. That is when weeds start to like to grow in your lawn. So that is the time to put down this product and hopefully have a weed-free lawn. What kind of weeds does this prevent? Some of the main ones is crabgrass. That's why it's also called crabgrass preventer, because a lot of people are targeting crabgrass. But it also prevents other grassy weeds like goosegrass, spurge, chickweed, and many others. Read the bags, read the labels if you have any questions about all the grass types that it will help prevent. Now there are multiple, 3 to be exact, active ingredients that you can purchase that come in these products. There's pendimethalin, which is commonly used by Scott's. Scott's Turf Builder, like Step 1 program, and there are Scott's Halts crabgrass preventer. And that's kind of a product that used to be used a lot more and it's kind of been phased out a little bit. Then there's dithiopyr, which is also known as dimension, and then prodiamine, or barricade as it's sometimes called, which is what I will be using today. Prodiamine, or barricade, is a pre-emergent of my choice because it's cheap. It tends to work a little bit longer into the season because it stays in your soil better and doesn't get leached into the soil with really heavy rainfalls. So dithiopyr tends to do that a little bit more than prodiamine, so its effects actually wear off a little bit sooner into the season. Now, how do you go about choosing a product? There's a couple different things that you can keep in mind. There's cost, experience level, and also convenience to you. The cheapest, like I just said, is prodiamine, but it's actually not in a granular form. It's in a wettable dispersible granular, a WDG form, which is actually like a powder that you can put into a backpack sprayer and mix with water, and it just turns into a liquid. Then you go and you backpack spray that onto your lawn. The problem with this is you need to be comfortable with a backpack sprayer and have a little bit of experience with that. So your average novice DIYer might not want to tackle that, even though it may be the cheapest option for you. And I can't stress this enough, do not use a hose-on sprayer that you might use for some fertilizers and stuff. Pre-emergent herbicides are not meant to be mixed in a hose-on sprayer, so do not do that. It's just not a good idea. The most convenient route is using Step 1, like a 4-step fertilizer program, just like Scott's Turf Builder, or there's a lot of different 4-step programs out there, but usually Step 1 is a mixture of fertilizer and pre-emergent herbicide. This will save you time and money because you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 deal, right? My personal choice is to use a standalone granular pre-emergent like this. This is not a fertilizer at all, it's just a pre-emergent. I'm using the Anderson's Barricade. There's also, if you go to the big box stores, Lesco makes a Stonewall, they call it, as their version of prodiamine. It's a 007, so it does have a little bit of potassium in it. That is a very good product. I've used that in the past and I like it. And the reason why I prefer to go this route is because if you go the route with like a step 1 fertilizer program, you're going to be applying about 0.8 pounds of nitrogen with that in order to get your proper rates of your pre-emergent down into your lawn. In the spring, your lawn does not need that much fertilizer to get it to wake up. You kind of want to more so gradually work it in with some nitrogen. So I like to apply my nitrogen separately at about a ½ pound per thousand versus the 0.8 pounds per thousand that you get with like a step 1 program. I consider applying pre-emergent to be a 2-step process. I know what you're thinking, Andrew. You're applying a product onto your lawn. How is that a 2-step process? Well, number 1, you apply the product onto your lawn. Number 2, it needs to be watered in. Most products recommend you water it in a ½ inch of water within 14 to 21 days. This product here says 14 on it. I try to tell people 14 is kind of like the max that I say, but you do you, obviously. So the soil temperatures in our area are a little bit above 55 degrees, and that's okay. I missed the window by a little bit, but I've been busy. This is not my property, so I had to drive here to do this. And the other thing is they have not turned their irrigation on yet this year, and we haven't had rain in 2 weeks. So even if I would have put this product down 2 weeks ago, it would not be getting watered in until the rain that is supposed to be coming tonight arrives anyways. So it's smart if you want to use your irrigation to get that ½ inch of watering in these products. Test out your irrigation beforehand. Make sure it's working well for the season. All your sprinkler heads are good. Because one thing that can happen is if you have broken sprinkler heads you put down to your pre-emergent, you got to dig up that sprinkler head. Any kind of digging in your lawn is going to break that barrier of your pre-emergent, and that area that you dig up will be susceptible to weeds popping through. Now on to the big mistake that I told you guys all to stick around for. Twice in one day, I had 2 separate people come up to me in person, not even just like online, in person, talking about seeding their lawn right now in the spring, which you can do. Fall is the best, but I will be doing seeding myself. There is definitely times where you need to seed in the spring. Well, I had one person come up to me and say, hey, I dethatched, I overseeded, I put down a starter fertilizer, and that's all great. And then he proceeded to say, in 2 weeks, I'm gonna put down my crabgrass preventer. What? No, don't do that. That is not a good idea. The reason being, crabgrass preventer, pre-emergent, it can't tell the difference between a weed seed and a grass seed. So it's gonna do the exact same thing to your grass seed as it does to your weed seeds. It's gonna choke it out, it's not gonna let it get the nutrients that it needs to poke through the soil, and grass seed is not cheap. You're gonna be wasting a lot of money and a lot of time on whatever renovation project you just did. So make a choice. Are you gonna put down grass seed, or are you going to be putting down pre-emergent? Unfortunately, you cannot do both. The exception being, there's a product called Tenacity that must be sprayed on your lawn with a backpack sprayer. Or there is like starter fertilizer, like Scott's makes one that is made for seeding that has Tenacity or mesotrione, however you say it, in it. And that product kind of works as a pre-emergent. It doesn't last as long, only a few weeks, but it will help get you some weed prevention at the same time. But no prodiamine, no dithiopyr, no pendimethalin, or that grass seed will not survive. Now, a bonus tip for you guys, pre-emergent can actually be a little stressful on your lawn's roots, on the grass roots. So it's recommended that you kind of wait a full season before you apply pre-emergent to a newly seeded lawn. So if you did an overseed or a seeding project last fall, this spring, consider holding off on your pre-emergent. Sure, you might get some weeds in your lawn, but it might stress out some of those kind of underdeveloped roots on the new grass and might actually cause more harm than good. So just something to consider. I never knew this up until about a year ago, and I would do it and I never noticed anything kind of harmful, but it kind of makes me wonder like how much thicker would my lawn have been if I did not apply pre-emergent. I don't know. You never know until you don't use it, I guess. So, well, that's it, guys. Let's go out and let's apply this pre-emergent and let's stop these weeds from popping up. New Balance shoes, check. Long pants, check. Grass glasses, check.